My dearest of friends, finally, after weeks upon weeks of waiting, the Demon Slayer story has its continuation in anime form, and I could not be any happier, because this is the beginning of the Entertainment District arc, my absolute favorite arc in the entirety of the Demon Slayer story. And for it to have returned in such a brilliant fashion is truly a blessing, as this first episode was double stuffed, managing to handle all the transition content in a single episode, which I feel is certainly a good way to go about things. Truly, fans would be happy either way, but by doing it in this way, we managed to tackle the remnants of the Mugen Train arc quickly, allowing us to fully delve into the content of the following arc without waiting even longer. And I'm not too sure when the time will come where I'll get over Rengoku's death, but I can certainly say that it was not today, as his first bit definitely hit. I can always somewhat power through Tanjiro's bit, but man, the inflections of my boy Inosuke are always so good that I end up losing myself. Hopefully I'm not the only one. Now, something I absolutely adore about the Demon Slayer anime is their addition of content. Now, usually when it comes to the anime adding its own stuff that is not from the source material, it's a bad thing. Soulless filler, a deviation from the proper timeline, all that stuff has plagued the anime community for years, and has led to the downfall of many otherwise fantastic series. However, the additional content the Demon Slayer anime provides is for the most part supplementary, minor additions that ultimately add up and enhance the overall product. And this is something I'm sure Gotoge is able to appreciate, as they themselves at times would admit their shortcomings when it came to the inclusion of certain things, which would be later touched upon with author comments and such, but even still, there's only so much you can discuss in such a capacity. Having a child form Muzan venture out at night for a library book, the suspense and mystery of this young man roaming throughout the night to such an abode, the initial banter between his adoptive parents and their guests, even his adoptive father's entrance into the room following the noise being made, which was all now cleaned up. All of that was absent from the manga, but absolutely made these scenes so much better. But man, Muzan is so damn chilling. Him pretending to be the kind and innocent son of this pharmaceutical company owner for the sake of research in sun resistance is brilliant. Not to mention the degree of control he has over his subjects that even the likes of Akaza, Upper Moon 3, will be retching in pain on account of him merely lifting his finger in frustration. That is insane. What effectively made the mighty Akaza look like a petty child, especially considering his subsequent outburst at the thought of Tanjiro piercing him and referring to him as a coward. Now, the beginning of this Butterfly Mansion scene was also an anime exclusive edition. The mischievous theft of the bean paste buns was such a nice touch that again only added to an already phenomenal product. Moving on to Tanjiro's visit to the Rengoku abode, this for me has always been quite the scene considering our feelings towards Kyojiro himself, and so to have his father so openly bad talk him manages to evoke a certain sort of rage within not only Tanjiro as our main protagonist, but the audience as well. The anime did such a good job with this scene, and this is our first time hearing about sun breathing, the very first and most powerful breath style from which all others are derived. And I absolutely love that Rengoku Sr. is the one to provide us with this knowledge, as previously it was Kyojiro Rengoku who first informed us about the 5 core breath styles and their derivatives. What together ends up being an expansion on our knowledge of history and the powers of this world being seen from 2 different outlooks. And along with this notion was the mention of Tanjiro's earrings being a signifier, as yet again we would receive the visual of a figure Muzan himself had previously connected the earrings to as well, what I find to be especially exciting. This video, like all of our other anime exclusive videos, is spoiler free, but the specifics of that figure may be found within what is by far our most viewed video on the channel, so go ahead and check that out if you are curious and interested. But anyways, I can't lie, I got pretty hyped when Rengoku Sr. started throwing hands. But man, Tanjiro's thick skull is by far one of the most lethal weapons in the series. This thing has at this point laid out 2 HASHIRA level swordsmen. But real talk, seeing the state of the Flame HASHIRA Chronicle was saddening for me, as is just about any desecration of historical records and information truly. But to make matters worse, Kyojiro was now set to be the final Flame HASHIRA and the end of a line spanning generations, as his younger brother simply was not cut out to be a swordsman. Yet even still, I think that Senjiro's faith in the fact that his brother would understand is truly beautiful, and just goes to show the sort of relationship that they shared as opposed to the treatment he receives from their father. In truth, considering the early loss of their mother and descent of their father soon after, for Senjuro, Kyojuro was really the only admirable parental figure he had, which makes this loss that much more painful. Truly, the gifting of Rengoku's handguard to Tanjiro was a beautiful thing indeed, which one would hope to be a meaningful guide towards greatness for him. But to close things out with this scene and what I consider to be the true conclusion of the Mugen Train arc, we have the declaration of Rengoku's final words to his father. "Please take care of yourself." Such a simple message which was so wonderfully delivered by the anime, and again, I was broken. The handling of emotions and especially grief in this story is absolutely genius. Beyond the theatrics, beyond the spectacle and flash, at its core, this is what I believe has truly solidified Demon Slayer to be such an incredible story. Its ability to touch hearts. What I believe to be a signifier of true manga, which has now been made into a truly great anime. It's damn good, and it is really hard not to praise it every other sentence. Now, the slasher film scene we received courtesy of Haganezuka was hilarious. One of the funniest moments in the series for me was when Inosuke got his new sword and immediately made it jagged with a rock, and this seemed to be a continuation of that. And honestly, I can't blame this guy. I mean, Tanjiro just got his replacement after the spider arc, and literally one arc later, he launched it at a demon in a fit of rage. The animation for this little joke sequence was so good in fact that I began to feel like it was yet another Demon Slayer film. So yeah, the quality of this series has not diminished in the slightest. Ufotable continues to come correct. Now, the scene of the boys at breakfast, Aoi coming to Tanjiro's aid, his thanking of the butterfly girls, and Haganezuka's eating of rice dumplings were all absent from the manga, but serve to properly conclude the joke, I feel. The 4 months of training the boys endured was also elaborated upon by the anime, providing us even better visuals to accompany the relay of information by Tanjiro. And as if that wasn't enough, we even got an entirely new Tanjiro mission in which he hunted a demon lurking within a mountain shrine. And this was really cool. We got some new attire from him, and furthermore, some dynamic duo combat from the siblings, which is always amazing. Previously, the development of the boys was mostly emphasized, but in this case we are also able to get the sense that Nezuko too has improved. And what's more is that as opposed to this being a very brief instance, we have the demon actually manage to flee for a moment and wind up sheltered in a village barn. With this, we are given a sense of Tanjiro's developments, and seeing as how he uses water breathing here, despite now knowing sun breathing to be the strongest and his desire to get more accustomed to it, he has yet to do so in this time. Furthermore, when it comes to the family who'd gone to check out the strange noise coming from their barn, had Tanjiro still been inexperienced, they may have ended up endangered by the conflict, yet by getting the job done, he saved them all without them even knowing, which is awesome. But a very minor detail I find peculiar is that this blade is not Tanjiro's, or at least it doesn't look like Tanjiro's sword, and so I wonder what's the deal with that. Moving on to the end of the episode, we have the recruitment of Tengen Uzui. That moment of crisis for Kanao was so major for her character. The remembrance of Tanjiro's words calling for her to ditch the coin flipping and simply follow her heart was great. I mean, they were crying out for help, but when she actually did so, it was really surprising considering who she'd been up until then. I mean, even when rules and orders were brought up, she still refused to budge, and this is coming from a Hashira. And goodness gracious, these butterfly girls are just so adorable. Is it just me, or has their cuteness factor been dialed up that much more? All of this was just so well adapted, and just when Tanjiro thought his forehead was going to add to its body count, that boy Tengen did the dash. Which is to say that of course at any point, he could have just bolted off with these girls, which by its lonesome should be able to clarify the sort of person he is to begin with. This was all really funny, but man, when it came time for the cool, Ufotable went above and beyond. They made this forgettable moment from the manga absolutely cool and memorable. And with all that being said, we now head to the entertainment district where evil demons dwell. I am so excited it is not even funny. Again, this is by far my favorite arc in this series, and so I am really just bouncing for joy at this point. And let me just say that the opening sequence for this season is so damn good. Like, the first few seconds alone are so well done, and Lord Tengen is over here just sauced up like crazy. I absolutely adore this man. Now, unfortunately, we can't exactly take a deep dive into the content of the visuals here on account of spoilers and such, but it is for me just such a dream come true. Everything looks so good, so epic, and most of all, so flashy. Guys, the next 10 weeks are going to be so much fun, and I seriously hope you will be willing to be with us every step of the way. Between this, Attack on Titan's finale, and Chainsaw Man, anime is truly more exciting than ever, and we would love to experience it all with all of you. Sidebar, the little gag section at the end of this episode in particular was actually really good and worth watching if you ended up skipping it. But yeah, to be here for our in-depth breakdowns of each and every new episode of the season, along with plenty other high-quality Demon Slayer videos, be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on. Because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Demon Slayer content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I am Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.